I hated last week, and I'm on the complete other opposite side of it this week because today we're talking about Clue. And I never knew this movie existed, and I shudder to think that I could go another day without knowing this movie existed.
You are about to enter the courtroom of the Honorable Judge KennieJD. Does she have any movie critic experience? No. Does she have any authority? No. But they gave her a show anyways. The movies are bad. The cases are good. The rulings are final. This is in defense of...
Hi! I'm very caffeinated. Oh my God. Hello! And welcome to In Defense of, a More Butter production. I am your host and your judge, KennieJD. And on here, we talk about movies that bombed at the box office or got really bad ratings and decide whether or not they deserve them. Ayo. So last week, we talked about Battleship. Girl, it didn't need to be a movie. We could have just watched a Rihanna video. It would have been more fulfilling because it wasn't enough Rihanna and it was too much of everything else. And a $200 million price tag for a piece of shit. Oh my God. If you haven't checked that out already, you can check it out on More Butter. I'm sure that they'll have that linked somewhere. I'm sure there's a playlist so you can watch all of the indefenses. But today we're keeping with the theme of childhood games turning into film. I hated last week, and I'm on the complete other opposite side of it this week because today we're talking about Clue. And I never knew this movie existed, and I shudder to think that I could go another day without knowing this movie existed. I actually really enjoyed it. That's a spoiler. But if you are new and you want to follow along, feel free to follow us here on More Butter. Follow In Defense of, also on Spotify and other places that you listen to podcasts. We're everywhere. Like, give the 5-star rating so that we can run them numbers up so that the community can grow ever larger. It's like a cult. Sorry. When I said that, for some reason, the first thing that came to mind is all the documentaries I've seen about cults where there's a prime moment in which there's like a seminar, like a day in their seminar when they have to say, this is why we aren't a cult. And for some reason that made me laugh to just say, it's definitely one, it's a cult. Okay, opening statements. So Clue is a 1985 American dark comedy. As you can tell, I like those. It's also a mystery film based around, again, the board game of the same name, Clue. My background with Clue, the board game, don't have much of one. I want to play it now as an adult, actually. I might have bought, a few weeks ago, I went on a random bender of buying a bunch of board games so that when people come over, we can play like Connect 4, but like drunk. It may be in there. If not, I'm going to purchase it. But the only thing I remember about Clue was there was a Christmas where my dad forgot to buy presents, which is unfortunately was a regular thing. Sweet guy, love him to pieces. Not great on like major holidays. And he last minute bought me oh God, what did he buy me? He bought me something else random, like a $15 pair of headphones and Clue. And I lost my fucking mind. And I think that's why I begrudgingly didn't want to play the game much as a child. But now I'm like, it's probably fine. It's probably fun. Especially considering it came out with like a great campy dark comedy from it. This movie is so much fun. Oh my God. Anyway. So the film, as you'd imagine, is inspired by the nature of the board game. When you play, from what I remember, is like there's someone's name and you say that they murdered so-and-so in the room with a particular weapon. So Mary murdered Butler in the kitchen with a candle holder. That's how you do it. And so what they do is they bring all these people in who have various connections to the upper echelon. And we slowly have a very convoluted and confusing story unleash, but it was fun along the way. And that's what's important. But yes, the movie takes place in the same nature of the board game. And its initial release featured various different endings, with one of 3 possibilities sent to movie theaters at a time, which is so fun because I watched the movie at home. And if you watch it at home, they put all 3 of the endings there. So at first I was confused, but now it's like, oh, it was for the fun of it. Oh my God, that's so fun. But home media, of course, releases include all 3 endings presented sequentially. It was very confusing at first. I was like, what's happening? And then I was like, oh, because Clue is based off of... Okay, I get it. Anyway, so much fun. Anyway, the film, unfortunately, initially received mixed reviews, did poorly at the box office, grossing $14.6 million in the United States against the budget of $15 million. But later developed a considerable cult following, and I know why, because this movie's so much fun. A lot of criticism is that the movie starts to drag towards the end. It's fun in the beginning and starts to drag. One critic of the Chicago Tribune gave it 2.5 out of 4 stars, writing that Clue offers a few big laughs early on, followed by a lot of characters running around on a treadmill to nowhere. Say what you really mean. This critic was Gene Siskel. I think I'm pronounced Siskel. And he particularly criticized the decision to release the film to theaters with 3 separate endings, calling it a quote-unquote gimmick that would distract audiences from the rest of the film, concluding that Clue is a movie that needs 3 different middles rather than 3 different endings. Fuck you. You don't... Where's people's whimsy? That is cool. I want more of that. We should do more of that. Why did that just bring... Okay, do y'all remember this? I'm showing my age again. Early YouTube. This is going to be a very particularized group of people who would know what I'm talking about. There was a point where there was like, you could do basically click away screens. So people could do like choose your adventure videos on YouTube. It's giving fever dream right now, but I distinctly remember that. Like, say there was a murder mystery YouTube video, they're like, are you going to the left or are you going to the right? And then if you go to the left, that video shows. If you go to the right, that video shows. It's like a choose your own adventure. That's so fun. You guys are no fun. Anyway, Roger Ebert in the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film a 2 out of 4 stars, writing that it has a promising cast, but that the film's screenplay is so very, very thin that the actors spend most of their time looking frustrated, as if they'd just been cut off right before they say something interesting. There was also opinions around which ending was the best, most saying that A was the best and C was the worst. But despite it doing poorly in the box office, you know, the score from audiences is a lot more promising, 86% on the tomato meter for reviews, 68%. Critic consensus is that a robust ensemble of game actors elevate Clue above its schematic source material. Ooh, on phonics. But this farce's reliance on novelty over organic wit makes its entertainment value a roll of the dice. How pretentious. IMDb gave it a 7.2 out of 10. Metacritic, 39% for critics, and then 8.1 for users, 8.1 out of 10. So obviously, the audience is the tastemakers here. Obviously, the audience knows what's quality. Stop asking professionals for professional advice. Anyway, what do they know about film? Today's video is brought to you by Jarritos Soda. Jarritos comes in a glass bottle made with real sugar and has absolutely no HFCs. There's 12 all-natural flavors, so you're sure to find something that you enjoy, including, but not limited to, grapefruit, strawberry, tamarind, mango, and pineapple. Those are my 2 favorites, but I also love a fruit punch, and many more to choose from as well. If you would like to taste test every flavor for yourself, feel free to check it out in their Fiesta Pack, available at Walmart. Link will be down below. Big thanks again to Jarritos for sponsoring today's episode. Anyway, so the plot. The time is 1954, New England. And 6 people are invited to a home in New England, like a mansion, after a ominous invitation is sent their way. Those are Colonel Mustard, Mrs. White, Mrs. Peacock, Mr. Green, Professor Plum, and Miss Scarlet. These are not their real names. These are all pseudonyms. But then a 7th guest arrives, a Mr. Body, who the butler announces is who's been blackmailing all of these people. Apparently, each of them in some way either work in government or are associated with the government and have done something untoward that warrants them getting blackmailed. One is suspected of killing her husband. The professor is accused of having an affair with one of his clients. One runs a brothel in DC. One is a war profiteer. One is taking bribes. And one is a homosexual. It's 1954, I guess. Yeah, I guess time period wise, that makes sense. While threatening to expose each of the guests, Mr. Body gives them each a weapon: a candlestick, a knife, a lead pipe, a revolver, a rope, and a wrench, and suggests that someone should kill the butler, who has the key to the front door. And being that everyone will witness it go down and all be involved, the secret stays there. Mr. Body turns off the lights and just sounds go ablazing. There's a gunshot, glass screaming, people scream, blah. And there we go. We see Mr. Body apparently dead on the floor. Because the lights being off, we don't know who killed him or how. I don't know why the one with the gun just shot. It's probably a bad idea, but the guests investigate Body's body. And the butler tells them that they have approximately 45 minutes to figure out what's going on, because that's how long it'll take for the police to get there. For some reason, the group ends up suspecting that the killer was the cook for some reason, but when they get there, she's already dead. She's been stabbed and put in like the freezer or something. When they come back, however, Mr. Body's body is gone. But they end up finding his body bleeding in the bathroom after having been struck on the head with a candlestick. The butler locks the weapons in the cupboard. He attempts to throw the key away, but a stranded motorist arrives, and the butler locks him in the lounge. The guests split off into pairs, searching the mansion for clues on who killed Mr. Body and the cook, and also how to get out of there before the police arrive. And meanwhile, an unknown individual wearing gloves, so we don't know who it is, burns the blackmail evidence, unlocks the cupboard, and kills the motorist with a wrench. A lot of shenanigans goes around, a lot of searching, a hooping and a hollering. I'm not going to explain the specifics. It's no fun to hear me relay that information. But long story short, 3 more people get killed. Yvette, who was their maid with big bazongas. That's how we recognize her. Just giant titties in a maid suit. Good for you, girl. Where you get the outfit? Did they come in plus size? A police officer that came over trying to use their phone, and a singing telegram girl who all arrived when lights were out. And they're each killed with a rope, a lead pipe, and a revolver, respectively. The butler gathers everyone's together, and at the end, he reveals how he knows who the murderer is. Recreating the night's events, the butler explains that the 5 victims who died were all Mr. Body's informants. He continues to show his explanation, and one of the 3 possible outcomes ensued. Again, you'd have to watch to figure out which one it would be. It's actually very confusing though. And if you watch them one after another, you really do feel like you're getting punched in the face. I really wish I would have known that there would be 3 different endings beforehand, because I remember that last 5 minutes. I was like, oh, they lost me. But now when I figured out, oh, it's one of 3 possible endings, it makes sense anyway. So that's the movie. I'm not going to go into too much detail because much of it is just like figuring out what's going on. A lot of funny jokes. It's really funny. The movie's really funny. So defense. I really like this movie. This is going to be one of my new, oh, I'm so happy I discovered this. I think this, along with like Heathers, are like those 80s movies that I'm not super familiar with. I think I don't know a lot about 80s film now that I think about it. And I want to watch more of it. I think it's a fun time. But this movie is so much fun. I definitely see why it garnered a cult following, because it's a fun time. It really is. I think, if you've played the game, you'll really enjoy the references or whatever. It's cute and whatnot. The game actually matters in the movie, whereas with Battleship that we talked about last night, I was like, it didn't even need to be Battleship. It's just people blowing shit up in the military. Like, that could have been literally anything. But this movie does, play around with the game itself and like what we expect from the game. And in the game itself, at the end, you have to explain like, how do you know so-and-so killed so-and-so and how they did it and blah, blah, blah. So the like kind of the rampant running around thing, the kind of the like marathon of trying to explain yourself is actually a lot of fun within the game. And I feel like that, though confusing, the movie can be very confusing. So can the game, from what I remember. Again, I was playing it when I didn't have a fully functioning frontal lobe, so maybe some logic games didn't hit me quite as well yet. But no, I thought it was so fun. It was really funny. You know, some things again don't age well, but it was also from the 80s and it's also set in 1954. So I'm not surprised by that. And I don't think it takes me out of the experience at all. But yeah, this is definitely like a new favorite. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun. It certainly makes me want to play Clue now. So if that's any indication, they got me wanting to buy it. So it's a fun time. I can definitely see how it would work really well for like a theme movie night. Wouldn't that be fun? You invite people over, you play Clue, you watch Clue, you get drunk, you start yelling, "You killed him in the bathroom with a lead pipe!" Like I could see like a fun time associated. Oh my God. But yeah, ruling, I think it's innocent. I like the movie. I just feel like critics wanted a movie to be more serious when it's not supposed to be. It's Clue. Like, it's chaos. The premise is chaos. At least it had more of a storyline than fucking Battleship. That bullshit. Like, this is like a bunch of fun time, campiness, cute clothes, nice costumes, slapstick, some comedy that some of which aged very well. It's very funny. Some not so much, but hey, it is the 80s. But yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say. I think it's a really funny movie. I think it's a really fun movie. If you haven't seen it, I'd love to, if you have seen it actually, I would love to know your opinion because I really enjoyed it. Especially if you were like old enough to remember it being out at the time. I'd love to know like what your opinions are of it. Like, I think it sounds like a fun time. I think it holds well to all of the things that make the game fun. It's a bit convoluted, but from what I remember, the game can be as well. And yeah, I think if you're going to do like a movie adaptation of something like a board game, it is a good idea to work with something that has some narrative structure, whereas Battleship was just blowing shit up and it was just a waste of your fucking time. At least this one wasted less money. And I actually really liked it. I thought it was funny. It was a lot of like recognizable faces in it. I'm really bad with names though. I do recognize a lot of the actors in this movie. And it was a fun time. I would watch it again. I actually plan to watch it again. It was a fun time. So yeah, I guess this is gonna go under my like basket of 80s movies that I had never watched, but I really like now, along with Heathers. Some early 2000s fun things, Josie and the Pussycats. You know, I'm discovering great movies along the way. So I'm happy to bring you guys along the way with me. But if you like this video, be sure to like it. Follow us here on More Butter. You can follow me on Spotify as well. We are over there for where you listen to podcasts. If you want to listen to podcasts elsewhere, we're also there as well. More Butter in defense of. Follow us there. We're on Twitter, More Butter. I'm also personally on Twitter and YouTube and Instagram, all of which are KennieJD if you want to see what I'm up to. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'd love to hear any opinions you have about the movie if you've ever seen it. And if you end up seeing it after watching this video, I'd love to know your opinion on it there too, because that sounds like a fun time. And I will see you guys next time. Peace.